Welcome back, everybody, to Games Revealed. I'm James the Brink, and we are one community. Today, we don't have a live stream. Today, we have something even better. It's the trial run of a Games Revealed show where I would have so many actually video ideas pretty much set up to do this week that instead of just recording all of them, editing them all, we're going to try doing a show of all the news or topics that we're going to be talking about, because this is going to be a multifaceted test on what you guys like and what I like to do videos on. So, not to make this any more boring, let's spice it up a little bit, because we're going to be talking, like, our main topic today is going to be about predictions. And I have a pretty bold prediction towards the end of the predictions segment. So make sure to at least watch the whole main portion of it. And this is predictions on the future of handheld gaming and a little bit of what might be beyond that. So it's definitely going to be a fun episode or show today, so whatever you want to call it. But then we're going to get into the dark side of gaming creators, building the perfect game bundle, Amazon Fire Stick, and then we have some announcements to make regarding another channel and this channel. So make sure to stick through the whole thing. I might even have a co-host next time, so we'll see. Depends on how much you guys like this and how much, I guess, I like doing it once again. So let's get into it. Predicting the future. Okay. So I'm going to predict first up that you're going to enjoy this segment very much, because it's everything we like to do, right? We love to guess the different handheld specs or what's going to be the future of gaming. And this is kind of a little bit of both, like I said. So first up, the Steam Deck 2. Valve is likely to announce this powerhouse in 2025. Here's what we might expect from it. 2 USB 4 Type-C ports, a 70-watt battery, maybe even an 80-watt battery, and then performance of 8 to 12 T-flops is what I'm kind of guesstimating. You guys might think I'm crazy, but I'm thinking this is what it's going to be. And it's going to be around double the current Steam Deck, meaning we're going to be getting, instead of 30 frames per second in Elden Ring, we're going to be getting 60 frames per second. And that's not quite what I'm meaning. Some games are going to be a little bit more, I think they're going to be beefed up, and then some will just get it like a 10, maybe 15 FPS increase, just depending on the specs and all that. I'm hoping for double the performance, because then we can maybe go beyond the lower end of specs and go into medium specs on a lot of games, especially even newer games. That's the hope here. And I think if with this next prediction for the Steam Deck 2, I think 24 gigabytes of RAM is going to be the minimum that they're going to be doing with it. And if we're lucky, we'll get 32 gigabytes of RAM. And the reason why I put this into play as an important aspect of what I'm guessing the Steam Deck 2 will have is because I think that's the future of handheld gaming. I think it needs bare minimum 24 gigabytes of RAM. I've seen too many games, even with beyond Steam Deck, like with the ROG Ally, limited by RAM. You can mess with the RAM, the VRAM, and all that with these devices to get a better balance, but at the end of the day, sometimes there's just not enough to go around. And 16 gigs sounds like a lot, but you got to remember it is shared, where VRAM can typically be between, these days, 6 to 12. That's like with typical cards, and that's even really low for a normal desktop. Like, they need to start, NVIDIA and AMD really need to start upping their VRAM even. So that's why I think that's very, honestly, some people think this is crazy. Maybe you're one of them. But I do think that bare minimum 32 gigabytes is the bare minimum that we should expect in the future. And I really think that we've been sold a lie in some ways. And I think especially with NVIDIA over the years on how important VRAM is. With the Unreal Engine 5 alone, that is a very important aspect, is that it's a little VRAM hungry. That being said, developers can optimize for VRAM usage, but I think it's better to on the side of caution and just bump that thing up a little bit. It's not really that much more expensive of an ask, unless you're Apple, and then you charge a lot more for it. But I do think that I think the APU is going to be very important for performance, but I think equally the RAM will be important for long-term playability of these devices. And I think that it will be a 9000 series-esque. They do their custom chips. So how the Steam Deck 1 does it is that they have the Van Gogh, which is an older chipset that uses a lot of the older tech in the Steam Deck, partially because of the pandemic, and also partially, I believe, because it's tried and tested and was a little less hungry on the power. So there's a good chance that they could go to 8,000 or 9,000 series tech, which if they do 9,000 according to the chart and according to like what the 7 and 8,000 series of AMD can do, if they really fine tune it and maybe even let us up that TDP a little bit, along with adding that extra battery, we could easily see up to 12 teraflops of performance, which would more than double the current Steam Deck. But T-flops is not the only important metric with all this. It's an easy way to gauge it. So the current Steam Deck, I believe, is around 2.7 T-flops, or maybe 3 point. It's between 2 and 3. It's around that for the performance for the Steam Deck. So, but that's not all. Around the same time or shortly after, Valve could surprise us with another product line, maybe a self-contained Steam Reality VR system. Maybe a new console similar to the Steam Machine that integrates seamlessly with the Steam Deck for streaming. I'm thinking that these are two big possibilities as we've gotten, since the Steam Deck was released, we've known that Valve is looking at virtual reality with Steam Deck components. So we could easily see if they're modular about it, which I think that'd be really cool if we got a modular Steam Deck. If they were modular about it, the problem is virtual reality requires like it to be as lightweight as possible, or else it really affects your neck. So if you slapped a Steam Deck, even a Steam Deck 2 to it and to the front, you'd have to have balancing weights on the back, and you'd get quite a neck exercise, I think, with that. But there's no point in it. It may be a battery pack on the lower back. I don't know. This is all hypotheticals, but I definitely think it would be cool to see a VR headset that is supported by, like, let's say a Steam Deck 2 system, and just kind of like piggyback off that. But more than what's likely going to happen is that we'll get a Steam Deck 2 in the next few years. We'll get some type of new virtual reality system from Valve with maybe a Portal or a Valve game along with it, because that's usually what they like to do. Within like a year or two of releasing new hardware, they usually like to have some type of either game or game that supports the playability on that, so that it's sold as a package because they like to experiment. That's Valve in a nutshell. Who also likes that to experiment is Asus. ROG Ally 2, I think, will be coming in holidays 2025, maybe early 2026. And it's not really rumored yet that there's going to be an Ally 2, but we can all assume that this is a laptop or a gaming hardware company that does laptops. They're going to follow the laptop model. And I think a lot of these companies that are getting into the handheld are going to follow a laptop model. I think it might peter out to maybe every other year, but as they're getting the kinks out of their system, I think they're going to follow a yearly update cycle. We'll see, though. It really depends. They don't have SteamOS and some other console-esque capabilities right now, even though the armory is really good, to make it indicative to have it long-term. Meaning, like with a console-like experience, you usually plan on grabbing a console, hold on to it for a few years because you don't want to spend the money to upgrade. With the Asus and like Legion Go, they don't tend to have that stigmatism behind it. They are usually more PC-minded people, I believe. They're usually going after the best of the best in that year. I obviously you're going to have the melding of both, but I think that's usually who goes after those types of devices. Else you just stick with a Steam Deck because it's so easy to pick up and put down, unless you're obviously a Fortnite fan or something else like that. I think it's going to be about the same as the ROG Ally X, except for I think the ergonomics is, the reports coming out from people reviewing it, the ergonomics aren't as comfortable as the ROG Ally, but it's not that much bigger technically, at least weight-wise. And so they just have to work with the form factor a little bit more and also add a new chip, which most likely would be the Z2 Extreme chip. So right now the Z1 Extreme is similar to a 7000 series, 7840, I believe, U series AMD APU, which is pretty beefy actually. And that has up to 12 teraflops. I believe that's what they said, is like up to 12 teraflops of performance, which is pretty crazy. I would not say that's been my experience using it though. I would say it's probably closer to about 8 teraflops of performance, and that's with proper RAM management. If you throw RAM management out of the window, which with the Ally X we should be able to, meaning it should just be able to run, like the RAM's not going to be the limiter. It's going to be the APU, which I'm fine with. And they're going to, I really do think that the ROG Ally 2 is going to be very similar to the Ally X with better ergonomics and with a better APU. With that Z2 Extreme, I think that AMD is going to continue working on. It just doesn't make sense not to. Like it's a pretty cool way to brand mobile handheld APUs is to keep up with their so they'll have a Z3, a Z4. I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to see a standardized way of AMD handling handheld gaming, which is good for us. Options are good for us. I know I did a video recently on options being bad, but well, not really being bad. It was a mixed video, but at the end of the day, I think options are good. You can ignore the other options out there. Like the differences between the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, and the Legion Go are big enough to where there's an audience for each one of those. If someone wants a bigger screen, they go with Legion Go. If with the ROG Ally, if you like something a little bit more, well, with the ROG Ally, the original, something that's just a really good balance and has good software, then you go with that one. But you still want to be on the cutting edge. Or if you just want to, not swim against the current too much and just really ride that wave of just easy gaming, but not really difficult titles that are newer. Like the newer ones just don't play very well on the Steam Deck. It's just how it is. Depends on obviously it depends on the fidelity and the performance requirements for the game. But I do think that the ROG Ally is a pretty good balance between the Legion Go and the Steam Deck's weaknesses. So there's an option for everyone. And that's the beautiful thing about having multiple options and including multiple options. We got the Legion Go 2, which I think is going to be coming out in 2025 also. There's a small chance that they could release it this year. They've even mentioned that they're going to, I believe the rumor is that they're going to be releasing something this year, but I don't think they're going to. I think that they're going to wait until next year for at least the Legion Go 2 and probably that Z2 Extreme processor that will probably be standardized in all the, maybe. It could be also that Asus has a pretty tight grip on it, but I believe the Legion Go has the Z1 Extreme processor in it, and which is just better fine-tuned for handheld gaming. So I think the Z2 Extreme will be like a better refinement from it, and who knows, maybe, I doubt it, but maybe even the Steam Deck 2 will have it. I think the Steam Deck or Valve is working with AMD to develop the next gen, which we've already seen a lot of different articles on. Okay. So with the Legion Go 2, like I said, I think 2025 is going to be the sweet spot for the Z2 processors. And I think we're going to see devices release in that cyclical kind of manner. When there's a new Z processor out, I think these two will follow suit. Now, the Legion Go 2, I think will have a bigger battery. It will probably go to maybe, because I think right now, it is around 50-watt battery. I think they'll bump that thing up to maybe a 70. Who knows? Maybe they'll get brave enough and do an 80 and try to match the ROG Ally, which is, I think, a little too optimistic. I think 70 watts, they might be able to fit into that form factor that they have. But I do think that are also going to improve those detachable controllers. I think they're going to make them a little bit more comfortable and not so movey. Like, you get them strapped in there and they kind of move a little too easy. And with how big it is, it's much more noticeable than the Switch. The Switch even does it a little, like it has a little bit of wiggle, but because it's so light, I didn't notice it on the Switch as much, but with the Legion Go, I did. That being said, it doesn't bother everyone. It does bother me, but not that much. It's just, it would be nice that they're more ergonomical, in my opinion. I think some edges on them just weren't very comfortable for long-term gaming. So yeah, better ergonomics for sure, I think is going to be in play for this. Maybe even better, because honestly, it doesn't look great. Maybe to make it look a little bit fancier. Now, a completely new software experience comparable to Asus Armory, I think is also something that they're going to need to pour over. Meaning, not pour over, but meaning that that's the worst part about the Legion Go was the software for me. When I used it, the Armory, they didn't use Armory. They used something similar of their own making. And Armory is an Asus product anyways, or software package. I just didn't like it. It was too slow, clunky, didn't work sometimes. And even the Armory has this issue every once in a while, but for the most part, it worked pretty good. Honestly, I would say their error rate is the same as with the Steam Deck. So I definitely think that they're going to who knows if Lenovo is going to rethink their handheld software completely, but I think they should. I think they need to start from the ground up. The experience on that is really bad. And because they use two different software packages, I believe it's two separate, at least the UI indicates that how you manage the like playing videos and all that, and also managing the games and managing everything. It's just it seems different. And so I don't know. I think they should start from scratch and improve it and make it more better, because it's not that great. Now let's get into the next prediction, Steam OS 3. Now I think Steam OS 3 is going to I'm not sure if it's ever going to see the light of day. Alternatively, it could go public for other devices in 2025. If not, other operating systems could dominate the Linux gaming scene. Thanks to the groundwork laid by Steam OS, Bazite OS is good, but not all DEC compatible games run on it, as I've quickly found out with my ROG Ally running it. Like, Bazite is actually really close to the Steam Deck. That's essentially what they're trying to do, at least with the ROG Ally. It's, I think, fitted for multiple different devices. I believe there's a version for the Legion Go also, but it works really good. But if you want to play Cyberpunk 2077, it does not work with it. And I think it's because it has a thin client launcher, like the launcher that CD Projekt Red requires with the 2077 does not work with Bazite. And I have a feeling it's a custom install script. And honestly, something that would be cool to see them include with Steam itself, not included with Steam OS. So hopefully they change that, because that thin client should work fine anywhere else on Linux that is compatible or similar to Steam OS's Arch. So I'm hoping for Steam OS 3, but I'm really at this point, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more Linux operating systems pop up in flavors, which is always indicative of Linux. That's just how Linux works, right? So I'm not surprised by this in any measure, that we're seeing stuff already kind of take the SteamOS's place, because they're not releasing anything. Like I said, though, it's even got a smaller amount of games that are supported than Steam OS and Steam Deck, because those thin clients and certain games that are just require some additional custom install scripts. So we'll see what happens in the future, but it is cool right now to see stuff like that. Then we have the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. I think that this is going to be, and this is going to tie into another segment, and maybe I should just talk about it. Nah, we'll talk about it. We'll just briefly talk about it. So the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is something that they've worked on for years. It's not growing really that well. I don't know if they're going to continue doing it or even bet on the future. But by 2026, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate will likely be ubiquitous, even on the Steam Deck. Potentially, it will probably be on a bunch of different, just every TV. You can expect it to, I think, be on every TV by 2026 that supports controllers and certain, like every new smart TV, anything that supports a controller and certain codecs or processing speeds that Xbox Game Pass is going to require. And just to kick this off as a confirmation of this, that is going to happen, is that the Amazon Fire Stick, TV Fire Sticks are supported. And we'll talk a little bit later on this, but the Fire Sticks, they just came out. They're going to be compatible with the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which is the streaming portion of it. That is not the cloud-based gaming service, not the game library that you can play on Windows. So take with that what you must, but I think it's good. I think it's a good idea that these systems work everywhere we can. It knocks down, like, some people aren't going to like that, especially Xbox fans. They might like more, but it's going to knock down the walls for people that can't afford as many big purchases. They can support maybe monthly payment, and they have games at all times that's very predictable. That's the one thing that's nice about subscriptions over buying games all the time, is that it's very predictable. You're like, I'm going to buy this TV that I can use for multiple different things, and I can buy this subscription service, and I will have access to a lot of games that I like, and just call it that. Get a controller, of course, with it, and you have a nice little setup for potentially cheaper than what you'd buy an Xbox Series S or X. And so that's my prediction, is that Xbox is going to continue to dominate the cloud gaming space, and then eventually we'll see PlayStation maybe get into it. Now, my wild prediction, and this is a prediction that's going to be like 10 years away, so this is not a very fair prediction, but it's a wild prediction. It's the hook that I gave you earlier on. I think Valve is going to be coming out with something even more special, because blessed Gaben has a lot of stuff he's been working on. He's a typical billionaire. He's got projects other mistresses besides the Steam Deck and Valve and Steam. I think that Steam is going to release, or Valve is going to release, the Steam Neuro Deck. Okay, first up, Valve, if you use that, I would like to be, I'd like a little bit of a kickback for the name, but I'm kidding. It would be cool to see that my prediction's true. But whatever they call it, this is by far my wildest prediction. But by 2035, I think Steam might release a brain-computer interface called Steam Neuro Deck. Steam Headspace, or maybe Steam Neuralink. Gabe Newell, co-founder of Valve, has been quietly working on the BCI tech for years. And like we said earlier, it's the brain computer interface is what BCI stands for. So it's not Valve or Steam related. We'll see with the lawsuits happening with Valve and Steam, mainly Steam. I mean, Steam and Valve are essentially the same company at this point. But Steam has been under fire, an almost near $1 billion lawsuit in the UK, I believe. And we don't need to go into that, but it could affect this a little bit, maybe some funding. But I think we could, like, enhanced immersions. Like, you think the brain computer interface right now isn't really meant for visuals. It's meant for, like, you just think about it in a certain way, and if it's on the computer or some type of interface, it will happen. So I definitely wouldn't say that, like, if it was like use your mind to control the gaming experience with no physical controller will be the next step. I don't know. I feel like people are too ingrained with controllers, but if you can project it in my eyes, which that sounds really scary talking about it, the image and maybe a way to control it, or maybe even take yourself out of this reality in some ways to something that would be like a dreamlike state, induce you into a dreamlike state where you have a more lucid dream, and then you have a world virtually displayed in it where you can interact with it, but parts of it are outside in a computer, right? I think this would be a very interesting concept, and depending on how it could revolutionize, there's so many different medias that are like mediums, that is movies, TV shows, animes, and all that have like discussed this. And I think 2035 is obviously maybe too soon for something like this. This is what I think most people want virtual reality to turn into. But I definitely think that the start of it, meaning the BCI, wouldn't be something that would be truly like revolutionary in the sense of like you could pick up your like we just talked about, but it will be the start. It'll be maybe being able to control the game with your mind in the beginning, and this would definitely help people that have lost a lot of motor skills or have lost all their motor skills. So it'd be a very big accessibility thing for people to just start working into, but it would also benefit everyone else that wants a more realistic experience. Obviously, esports might be more interesting. The Olympics this year has very weird esports. They have esports, but they're not what you'd expect them to be. And we'll get into that later, into a later show. But let's just say that I think the BCI could be a really cool new way for especially people that just can't physically do sports to maybe try it out that way. I don't know. I don't know how you'd build up endurance or build up reaction times and all that with the BCI, but there's definitely a lot of things that could be really cool about it. But of course, there's the ethical and security considerations. The industry must address ethical and security concerns to protect player data and mental privacy especially, right? Like, do you trust the government to regulate this? As much as people don't like the government sometimes, that's what they're for, is for regulatory things like this, to make it so that you don't have ads pop up in front of you or your mind data being mined. Like, they literally mine your freaking mind data, your brain, your thoughts. Mining your thoughts sounds horrible. So I'll have to just say, we'll see if Steam pulls this off. We'll see if another company breaks into this like true virtual reality space before a big company takes the risk. I think that's what's going to happen. I think a smaller company is going to come in. A big company will probably buy it. I don't know if Valve or Steam is considered like too big of a company to venture into this, but I definitely would love to see Steam do their thing like with the Steam Deck. It's a far-fetched prediction. It's something that I think is fun. I don't know if it will come true. You guys probably definitely be like, whoa, he's crazy, but I think it's fun. And it could still tie into handheld gaming, kind of like what we predicted with everything else. Now, could I predict a ton more? Of course, but this is all we've got. I wanted to have some fun with this, but also get into some seriousness with the prediction side of things. Now, we ended that segment with a little bit of darkness of our mind being hacked and mined. But let's get even into some more darker themes, and that is just the darker side of content creators, and specifically people that are more in the tech and gaming side of things. And I want to start with the Dr. Disrespect. We'll go into this for a little bit. We'll go into you Review Tech USA, and just talk about this for a little bit, because it is one of those things where I think to be aware of it and to talk about this is important, because we won't, especially content creators, the more that they're kind of shamed for this type of behavior, the more, hopefully, less likely we will see this type of behavior happen. So what is this all about? We're going to be diving into the enigmatic and polarizing figure of Dr. Disrespect. Me personally, I think I've never, in the beginning, it was an interesting character. It was kind of fun to watch. I don't like that type of character. I don't like someone that's so brazen and so full of themselves. It's an interesting concept from, like I said, in the beginning, but as he honestly, it felt like his character bled more and more into the real world. And I would not be surprised if he role played this dude a ton in real life, and maybe even was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of thing. That's what I'm kind of thinking was, and to be fair, he was messaging under girls is what ultimately got him in trouble. So Herschel Guy Beam the fourth, known as Dr. Disrespect, gained fame for his high energy streams and unique persona. His rise to popularity on Twitch and subsequent transition to YouTube is kind of like where that's his background. He was really popular on Twitch, transitioned to YouTube. I believe it was part of a YouTube deal, and then he just stuck with YouTube because couple of years ago, YouTube and Twitch were fighting for content creators, and I think they've just stopped that now. They don't pay for exclusivity anymore. But the mystery surrounding the ban, and this is in 2020, Twitch ban, that happened. In June 2020, Dr. Disrespect was suddenly and permanently banned from Twitch without any explanation. The sadness of the ban left Beam and his followers in the dark, quoted from Clutch Points. And speculations and theories ran rampant in absence of concrete information. And I believe, some of them are always going to be messaging underage girls, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's not a surprise that we are here now knowing that at least part of the ban was, and more information has been brought out even before I wrote up these talking points, that, the allegations are confirmed, at least from some people that were working at Twitch. So Cody Connors claims in June 2024, former Twitch employee Cody Connors alleged that Dr. Disrespect was banned for engaging in explicit conversations with a minor via Twitch whispers and attempting to meet her at TwitchCon. And this is a quote just to kind of get a concept of it. He got banned because he got caught sexting a minor in then existing Twitch Whispers product. He was trying to meet up with her at TwitchCon. That's from Know Your Meme. And these allegations, once again, their allegations reignited the controversy and sparked new debates within the community, which is not good. This is definitely he has, because of these allegations, and they definitely seem strong, and it honestly really makes Twitch look bad too. Let's be fair. There's no way that Twitch does not look bad in this, because instead of reporting it or diving further into it, or letting people know, they didn't want to look stupid for having this dude on. He got banned. That's why he went to YouTube. That's right. So he went to YouTube because he got banned from Twitch, and they kept it quiet. And here we are in the debacle. So yeah, the Twitch stuff is kind of scummy too. Obviously Dr. Disrespect did the act, didn't fully go through with it, but he had infidelity too. And that's definitely something he came out about. But it's definitely worse for Dr. Disrespect. So the initial reactions were Dr. Disrespect responded by stating he did nothing illegal or wrong and mentioned that the matter was settled legally with Twitch paying out his contract, which I don't know. Sexting with a minor is, I think, illegal to a point, but is he going to get prosecuted? Who knows at this point? Listen, so this is the quote from Dr. Disrespect. Listen, I'm obviously tied to legal obligations from the settlement with Twitch, but I just need to say what I can say. Since this is the effing internet, I didn't do anything wrong. All this has been probed and settled. Nothing illegal. No wrongdoing was found. I was paid. And this is from Know Your Meme. And yeah, I'm going to go with, you don't get banned from Twitch for doing nothing wrong. Typically, maybe Depends on what you consider wrong. But according, like for him, he wasn't really breaking any rules. He wasn't like a hot tub streamer that went too far or anything else openly that you'd be able to see. Messaging a minor in a more sexual way, yeah, I could definitely see that. And I keep on saying Val. Twitter, we're not talking about Twitter, Twitch did not want to get caught up in this. So past incidences in 2019, Dr. Disrespect was temporarily banned for live streaming from a public restroom at E3, which was kind of messed up. In 2017, he admitted to infidelity, which also caused a stir in the community. His career, quoting, his career has not been devoid of controversies. In 2019, Beam received a temporary ban after he and his cameraman streamed from a public bathroom at E3. So, and this is from the Clutch Points, is a quote. We're all kind of full. Like, even I'm sure you could find some type of controversy with me. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not that prevalent online, but it's piling on. And I think the Twitch thing is the last kind of little twig to be snapped before he's gone. The gaming community remains divided, with some defending Dr. Disrespect and others calling for more accountability. And I don't know how you defend him. Most of the stuff I've seen on X or Twitter has been Dr. Disrespect being not respected. People are not happy with him, rightfully so. So despite the controversies, Dr. Disrespect has continued his streaming career on YouTube, maintaining a significant following, but his contract was cut. All funding was cut. He does not make any money online, at least on Twitch and YouTube. So at least there's some justice for all of this. Now that being said, I don't know if the legal system is even going to go after him. I don't know what's happening. It's really bizarre that he's able to get away with some stuff that seems very sus, and then the companies just ban him. But at the same time, Twitch banned him just for that. Yeah, like legal liabilities. If he was able to eventually meet up, it could tie Twitch, especially if they know, into the whole legal mess. So this could be YouTube's just tying off any legal capabilities or accountabilities, that is, with their advertisers and moving on over to, they still allow him to post videos if he wants, but so who knows? Maybe that devoids them of accountability. But yeah, that's kind of the whole thing with Dr. Disrespect. What do you guys think? I'm curious. Of course, every segment we go through in this show today, you can comment on, but I'm curious what you guys think. I think it was wise what Twitch did and YouTube did with banning or demonetizing. That being said, I don't think it was wise of them, and I think it was scumming of them to cover up the reason. I think if we get a ban or if we get demonetization, I think we, as the viewer and as the consumer of the content, should be knowing why. So we don't continue supporting someone. Let us know. I know it's maybe there's a bro code going on, don't air other people's dirty laundry, and they didn't want to take accountability, but it doesn't make you look good. So there you go. Let's talk about the next controversy that we have, and that is Review Tech USA. His isn't even that bad, but we're going to get into it. Okay, so Review Tech USA, I don't think did nearly as bad, obviously, as Dr. Disrespect, but still, you can grab some popcorn, maybe pull up a chair. It's going to be an interesting ride, as this one is one that I have liked Review Tech USA in the past. He has a family. I have a family. I relate to that. But for those who might not be familiar, Review Tech USA, or Rich, is a well-known figure in the gaming community. His channel has been around for years, and he's known for his commentary on gaming news, tech reviews, sometimes drama. A lot of times drama. He also did kind of weird chicken things at the beginning of his videos, which I looked past. I liked him for his commentary and just diving into things that I just didn't have time to dive into. And so I really liked watching a lot of his coverage of topics. He's kind of, we'll get into let's get into this. So let's start with the retirement announcement. In surprising moves, Rich announced his retirement from his main channel to focus on his live streaming channel, RTU Streams. This heartfelt announcement left many fans shocked and emotional. But less than 24 hours later, he posted a sponsored drama video on his main channel, sparking outrage amongst, audiences. It's time, and this is his, a quote from it. It's time for me to step away from Review Tech USA and focus on something different, which I will have to say, myself, I don't have nearly as big of a following as Review Tech USA. And I have even thought about that at times where I'm like, I can focus on my game, but here I am. Still with you guys. Fans felt betrayed, accusing him of prioritizing sponsorship deals over his commitment to his audience. Rich defended himself by saying he had obligations to fulfill, but the damage was done. Many viewers saw this as an insincere and opportunistic kind of play on them, which is always the hard thing. You don't want to betray the people that are watching and supporting you. But at the same time, people do got to make money to pay for bills and stuff. I don't know how much Review Tech USA makes. He has 1 million subs, so I'd assume he makes some decent money, but probably doesn't make enough if you're not continually releasing content. Some of his content might be evergreen, but I couldn't imagine him just stopping content altogether will pay the bills long. So I'm curious what he's like. He has his live streaming, but I haven't seen anything with his live streaming in a while. I will have to say, live streaming sometimes is a lot easier than doing a lot of research and setting up for a video or show. So next up, the controversy though involving his former editor, Jay Hooft. Jay went public revealing that he had received harsh messages from Rich and hadn't been paid for his work. This revelation led to a significant backlash with many in the community supporting Jay, which, I mean, yeah, you gotta pay your workers, man. And who knows? It could have been maybe he did a crappy job. Review Tech USA didn't want to pay him. That's the problem with these types of open-ended stuff where you got hearsay. And who knows? Maybe there's a contract saying, well, we require this type of performance and you don't get paid until the end. That being said, I don't know. I'm probably on the side of Jay more, but this is Jay Hoof's tweet. I've had enough of Rich. The messages and the lack of payment have been too much. The situation escalated when private audio messages from Rich were leaked during a live stream showcasing the extent of their disagreement. This incident painted Rich in a negative light, with many viewing his actions as unprofessional and disrespectful. Although Rich eventually apologized and compensated Jay, the damage to his reputation was substantial. It really was. It really caused a lot of issues. I even saw his drop off in videos and everything else. And honestly, you cannot treat someone you're working with such disrespect. Like, it's honestly, that's when I stopped watching him. He can come back and apologize. He can work with, get to a point where maybe Jay is happy, but the damage is still kind of done, where I don't personally want to go back and watch his stuff at this moment, but I could see myself kind of going back in and, with enough time and with penance being paid with Jay and everything else, I'm a forgiving person. I don't write everyone off as long as you show that you've changed. He's a person that's under a lot of stress with family and all that maybe could. So who knows? I don't know. It will be interesting because he's going to have to pay the bills somehow. Okay, so finally the live stream meltdown. Let's get to this last little thing that he has. Finally, let's talk about the live stream meltdown during a live stream. Rich had an emotional outburst where he revealed private audio messages sent to Jay Hooft. This meltdown was triggered by Jay's public statement about the negative messages he received from Rich. The live stream added fuel to the fire, sparking further controversy and discussion within the gaming community. And this is just a portion of the live stream saying he can't believe Jay would do this, and here's what really happened. And then he showcased the audio footage, which, is fair on Rich's side. Rich and Jay, this kind of fight between them. If Jay's going to showcase audio, I think it's fair enough to have Rich do it too, to defend himself. This incident showcased issues of professionalism and appropriate behavior online. Many viewers felt that Rich's actions during the live stream were uncalled for and added to the perception of instability and poor judgment on his part. And once again, just being in bad places in life and, let's say, family, because we know that his daughter has some health issues, and I think that's honestly where I think a lot of the spiraling happened. Once I saw him become unstable, went with that. So we'll see. The fallout from these controversies has been significant. Many fans have expressed their disappointment and disillusionment with Rich, questioning his integrity and the future of the channel. The gaming community has been buzzing with discussion about these events how long has this been now? I think this has been on and off for about the past year, right? With opinions divided on whether Rich can recover from this. So, what do you think about Review Tech USA's recent actions? Let us know in the comments below. So I'm kind of curious to know what you think. I mentioned multiple times throughout this whole thing what I've thought. I think he could be redeemed. I think he's had good topics that is on his videos. I think he can be very entertaining and interesting. But I think he's going to have to, he has a lot of goodwill to build back up. And I think he's going to have to come out and apologize in multiple different ways. And once again, it's a controversy, and it's something that really sucks because we don't want to see someone that we've watched for years self-destruct. And we've seen this multiple times. And this is These are two characters that we've seen self-destruct that people have admired for years. Like Review Tech USA has been doing this for, like, he started out, I believe, in tech support or working at Best Buy or something like that, and built up a YouTube career. And then, like, to get to a point where he's so stressed in this deconstruction, maybe this is his real self, maybe. Or with the dark side of Dr. Disrespect, where he's built up this persona and then he becomes the persona and starts doing disrespectful things to underage women and treating, like, he's still with his wife, I believe. Like, I don't know if that will happen after all this, but I mean, I couldn't imagine. Like, infidelity is one thing. And there's, like, people that, marriages and couples that can survive that, especially if they have agreements and all that, which obviously, if you call it infidelity, they didn't have an agreement. Underage sexting and potentially meetups is a completely different ball game, and I just don't. Two different things. I obviously think Dr. Disrespect's Controversies drastically worse than Review Tech USA, and I just don't know if there's any, like, way for him back into the limelight. In the, like, he's gonna have to completely rebrand and go into a different field if he's gonna do, like, online content creation. But Review Tech USA, I think, has a way back. He just has got to get his ducks in order and really have a very comprehensive plan of how he's going to get redeemed. So that's that segment. Now, I want to offer this out. Right now, the Steam sales are in play. I want you to give me in the comments below what you think would be the perfect gaming bundle out there, because there's the Valve, which has Half-Life in it, the Valve bundle alone has just an amazing deal to it, right? But we also have the Fallout franchise series, which is, just pulling this up, $88 for everything. If you want to get every single Fallout DLC, Fallout season pass, whatever it is, it's 52% off, $88. You will get 1,000+ hours into that. Like, I want to challenge you guys to build me your perfect bundle that you would sell someone, in the sense of, like, or recommend, because people in the community are just starting to out, like, let's say with a Steam Deck or with their PC games, and it's a great time to share your knowledge of what you think would be the perfect bundle and to add a little bit of bonus to this. I really want to hear, and what you guys answer here, I will include in the next video. We should have enough time before the sale ends, but in the next video at the end of the Q&A. So, but with a bonus, I want to know if you can get $100 for 1,000 hours for gaming on your Steam Deck. Meaning, I want you to build a bundle that's on sale, or maybe not even on sale, that will bring in 1,000 hours of meaningful gameplay. Now, I will say you can't have multiple open world games that are like Fallout. Let's say, oh, I'm going to do Fallout 2, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. You got to be creative with it. You can stick within a genre or some of your favorite games, but I want to see if you guys for $100 can give like 1,000 hours of gameplay plus. Obviously, it's just a fun little challenge for you guys. I'm curious, can you guys do it? Because, like, you got Cyberpunk, you got the Ultimate Edition, which has a bunch of like Cyberpunk alone, you could strap down like 100 to 200 hours, or Witcher 3 series, like not the series, but the DLC along with the game. You got 200+ hours there. And the reason I know is because I put 214 hours into that game in a single playthrough, meaning the start of Witcher 3 and through the DLCs and finishing everything except for just some of the finding quests that were getting really repetitive in one of the areas. But I definitely have to say, like, if you like action-packed music, hard metal music, the Doom series might be an amazing one for you. It's a really good price right now. And the Half-Life series, I think the music is also really good in that. And I think the games are priceless. So those are just some of the bundles that I'm kind of just handing out there for you guys. But I'm curious what you guys will build. Okay. I have to do one more because I'm looking at the stuff here. Collection. The Ultimate Collection, because there's like the Borderlands 3 collection, and then there's also, I think, all the Borderlands together, and it's like between $50 and $100 or something like that, but that's a ton of content right there. So depending on the sale and how you buy it, that's kind of my challenge in the bundle that I think I want to see what you guys build, but I also want to see if you can do what you can do with $100 with 1,000 hours of meaningful gameplay. Iron Strike doesn't count. It has to have pure content, not multiplayer content where you're going to be playing the same map over and over again. I think that has thousands of hours. The reason why I put that stipulation is because you can just choose one game multiple times 100 times over. So let's get into the next segment real quick. The Xbox Amazon Fire Stick is the big news for right now for Xbox. We talked about it earlier. I just want to go a little deeper in and just mention which devices are going to be compatible with it. And that is the Fire TV Stick 4K Max, which is a 2023 version of it, or the Fire Stick 4K 2023. These are going to give you Xbox gaming, cloud gaming service for $49.99. Like that's how much those devices cost. Plus you're going to want to pick up a controller. So for about $100, you're going to have yourself what Google kind of abandoned their product, but you could have a similar product as their Google. I don't even remember that's how bad it wasn't bad. I just don't remember what it was called. It was the Google TV experience that they had, their game streaming service. And so there you go. Like, I think that's a really good way to get started into gaming. If you don't want to be fully committed to a console that's going to eat up space in your room, or if you don't have the money for it and you just want to have, like we talked about earlier, a predictive subscription. So I figured I'd just point out what those devices are, and then we can move on. Okay, so I have a new channel that I'm going to be announcing. Well, I'm announcing right here, but I'm going to be starting. I have the first video. It might not be up by the time that you watch this, but it is Game Dev Revealed is the channel. It is going to be a journey on just everything game development that I find interesting. It's going to be similar to Games Revealed channel in that, well, right now I'm doing shows, or I'm doing this show, and we'll see, maybe we'll continue doing shows in the future. I know they're very long, but it's what I have time for bare minimum this week. So this is an experiment. Let me know in the comments if you like this show so far, or if you want me to, because it might be pre-recorded, but I still might do a live stream afterwards, or I will do some sort of live streaming so that if you guys like talking with me about subjects, we can always talk. I don't want this to fully replace the live streams that I have on Wednesday, but it's definitely something I've thought about for a while, because then I can touch on a lot of different topics. I can ask for interactions from you, and I can get through things a little bit quicker and have a very meaningful content session for you. Okay, Games Revealed, the channel. It is going to have tips, tricks. It's going to have subjects that I know very much about, which is development practices. It is business side of things. I do have a software engineering degree with an emphasis in business. So I definitely, I've been a part of startups. I've been a CTO in a startup. I've had a lot of different titles, but I've also been a lot of different companies. And I know what it takes to build a company, especially something that takes like a lot of work, a software package, and very little funding. Like if you're an indie developer, oftentimes you can expect maybe to get some funding, but the funding could be like $10,000, $20,000, and that's not a lot. That might sound like a lot. That is very little. So I'm going to be doing my whole journey too. Like I have my game I'm working on. I am hundreds of hours into my video game that I'm working on. It's still a work in progress on it. Exactly if it's a space FPS, like adventure kind of game, or not really adventure, but like it's essentially, it's going to be called Space Breach, or at least that's the code name for it right now. You're on a spaceship and you need to repair it. But depending on difficulty levels, I might add in a lot of horror aspects to it. So it could be scary. It could be slightly scary, because who wants to be abandoned on a spaceship by yourself? I have a lot of really cool concepts that I will not reveal at this point. I will probably reveal more and more as I get going along, but that's the part of the journey. So this channel is going to be me going over topics that I need to learn about anyways, or like sure my knowledge up on, and then also going to be sharing my journey there. And so if you're aspiring, if you're an intermediate even game developer, you'll probably learn from this, as I will be going. I could definitely know how to start a business. I definitely know how to run a business. I definitely have a lot of really good tools for handling that business side of just game development, that is, indie, all that. So my indie game is going to be like a big bite off for me, like work-wise, because it's a 3D game. So it's a first-person spaceship survival game that is going to have horror aspects or could be. I'm not going to go into like grotesque horror per se, maybe, but I kind of want it to be playable by people that don't like that too. So it's going to probably be a melding of like Half-Life and Dead Space, even though I guess both of them are kind of grotesque. But we don't need to get into the weeds of this. This is very much a work in progress. But yeah, that's what that channel is going to be for. So you can go over, I will have it in the description below. There won't be any content potentially when you look at this, or the first video will be up. So you can go and subscribe to that if you're curious about my game development journey. If you have a journey yourself, if you want to get into game development or something similar, you might want to follow me along and we can do this together. I definitely think bare minimum, I'm going to be successful in releasing a game. I think the game will be successful enough. I can't guarantee that it's going to be a banger, as this is not my first game. I have made mini games and other hackathon games and other games in the past, but this is going to be my first full featured video game that I'm going to be releasing on Steam. I already have the Steam stuff already set up, and maybe that's something we can talk about later on. Maybe I will even work with Epic on this, in the sense of like I'll submit for grants. We can go over even what it will take. It doesn't mean I'm going to get accepted, but it doesn't mean we can't cover that in a topic over there. But I'll be releasing videos about 2, maybe if we're lucky, 3 times a week over there. I already have about 20 topics set up, 4 or 5 of those fully researched, and I've already got a couple of videos recorded. So I'm definitely fully engaged on that. And that's the point of trying out a show here. I definitely don't want to leave this channel like drifting in space like my game. But at this point, my priorities are, I would love to build a game. And that is beyond my family and making sure that they're taken care of. My next priority is my video game. Then it's these YouTube channels, which I really love doing. I really like chatting with you guys. I really like the community that we've built here. I love Games Revealed. That's why I don't want to drop it. So let me know how this experiment's going and go over there and follow that channel. Because the bare minimum, going over there and supporting me through this journey will be really big. And so as far as other channel updates, I will be obviously reworking this channel. You'll probably get additional updates. If you didn't know, over the past year and a half, I was laid off a year and a half ago, which for 8 months, because the software industry was just, it's not even recovered that well. The gaming industry might even be worse, the game industry, but it even caused a lot of stress to develop into some health issues I dealt with over the winter, and partially where I'm located, and I'm working with doctors for the past few months to determine what it all is. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to work towards being consistent on this channel, and I'm thankful for everyone that's stuck with me so far. We're going to pick stuff back up. I'm going to try to wrap up projects like the Deck Revealed project, a really important one to me, but like the game is just so important. It's the start of what I want to be doing in life and what I want to leave in life. Like when I'm 80 years old, I think I'm going to look back about my family and about my video game and all the friends, with you guys in YouTube and podcast or whatever it is along the way that I made. So this is going to be very important to me. And I will be doing a Patreon. I will have, the memberships here, and also the Game Revealed will help fund the game. The more that I can get support, the more likely it's going to come out, and I'm going to have a lot of good perks. Meaning if you wanted to be immortalized in a video game credits, anyone that supports me will be. Anyone that supports the game more directly, like on Patreon, is going to be in a different tier. So we'll go over that stuff later. And you've heard me talk about this for years. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I want to get really good progress that I can showcase better. Even though I have showcased the game, I want to get even further. And so you can, like I said, with the Game Dev Revealed stuff, I will have a devlog that I will try to accompany every week. Like I will try to release every week with updates for the game. It could be anywhere from small changes. Sometimes development doesn't work in grandiose changes. Sometimes it could be just a little change here and there, but I'm going to be working hard on it. And don't mind that beeping noise. That's just my tracking anklet that the government gave me so that I can't leave the house. No, I'm just kidding. If you could hear the beeping noise, I don't know if you could, but it's really loud. So the channel is going to be going through some changes, some series I'm going to be working on. Also, the Game Dev Revealed will be having behind the scenes. We're going to go look at games like Dead Space and like what made them successful and dissect them and have a lens that will help us as game developers. Or if you're interested in just how games are made, which you don't have to be a game developer for that, we're going to be doing that over there. Here at Games Revealed, we follow a little bit more of the tech of games, but we'll still try to follow some games also that the community is really interested in. So most of my stuff is here is going to be industry, just mainstream news or topics or content that's just fun to talk about with you guys. Also a community where game dev is going to be about the journey and building your way up in the journey to releasing a game and to be a part of a community that's doing that. This is going to be a community that's just that we just love video games here and video game hardware. We like tinkering. That's the whole point. I also will be doing live streams with more tinkering. I do like those, and I think you guys like watching me do that. As like Bazai on the ROG Ally was awesome. Like, I'm going to have an update for that. It will either be a segment in a show, or if I don't continue the show, it'll be like a video on its own, or maybe just another stream. So keep an eye out for that for sure. As I am digging Linux gaming lately, doesn't mean I'm going to fully switch over. I still got the Mac stuff that I need to work with, or at least game development. But yeah, so we'll have like a game industry revealed kind of series, maybe even here with some of the topics, deep dives like on the game dev revealed side of things, playing with hardware streams, and yeah, that journey that I talked about. We'll also be doing, at least for now, monthly game events on Discord. So make sure to become a Discord member, and there will be a separate Discord for Game Dev Revealed. And that is going to be more for people that are really interested in the way games are built. Once again, you don't need to be a game developer to enjoy the channel or some of the content over there. You like to see the behind the scenes and how things work and all that. So the Game Dev Discord, if it's not created yet, it will be eventually in the description below, and you can join that either if you're just an aspiring game developer or want to join me on the journey and build your own video game. So we're definitely going to be going over a lot of different aspects with that. And then the website, gamesrevealed.com, and the newsletter going to be heavily reworked. And if I have time, it is going to become an aggregate site along with a support for these shows and everything else. But I'm just finding more and more time is not there for doing my own custom work. So an aggregate system, meaning like it will aggregate news for specific games that you like, or it bare minimum will be show notes or video notes from YouTube over there. And then there will be a gamedevrevealed.com, which will be more indicative, and we'll have more information for that. It's going to be more indicative of game development. So with that being said, I'm trying not to burn myself out, but I do have goals. We won't post those today. All I ask is let me know in the comments below what you guys think of. Did you like of the segments? Which ones did you not? Do you want me to continue doing this? I do plan on clipping these out and doing 2 main videos on Friday and on Monday from this, meaning they'll be like shortened down to like 10, 15 minutes or whatever videos that are coming from this. So it'll be repeat content, but I'm trying out this new one, at least for this week, as this is, I had so much research, and thank you guys for being patient with me on this, but I want to know what you think. And if I bring another co-host on, like Susie, maybe she could help me with this. It'd be honestly kind of fun to do. Instead of doing the Games Revealed podcast, do a Games Revealed show that will then also be included. If you can't watch the show, be included as a podcast. So once again, thank you guys for the support and everything you do. I'm definitely going to continue bringing you content, and I'm hoping with this, your voices will be heard even more, because I know that's really important to you guys, that you want someone to hear you and that we can have some rapport here. And it's really important to me. I really like hearing what you guys have. You get really interesting questions. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I will also be collecting questions for next week's Q&A. We didn't really have a Q&A this week, but next week we'll have a Q&A. Bare minimum, if we don't do another show because no one liked it, we will do a live stream. So yeah, let me know. Let me know, guys. Also, one last little thing. I'm going to let you guys have access to a very early version of the prototype of the game for people that are, and depending on which tier you are with Patreon, and I don't have the Patreon set up yet, but keep an eye out. You'll be able to play the game much earlier on. And like I said, be included in the credits. So like, that's something I can definitely say. I'm going to release this game. Even if it kills me, I'm releasing this game. Hopefully I make it through this next winter and I don't get sick again like last winter. But thank you guys for watching. Let me know. Yeah, and check out the description below. It has a bunch of goodies, a bunch of sponsorships, stuff like that help me and the channel grow, and I can put more money towards editors, towards thumbnail artists, towards the video game, and I need an artist over there to work with too. So it will be very helpful no matter what. The money will go towards something very useful, not just me eating a hamburger on stream. So we could do that. But thank you for watching. Catch you guys out next time. Peace out. Later.